So should we get started? Everyone turn on your microphones. This is the regular meeting of the Arts and Culture Commission. Today is July 19th, 2018. Madam Recording Secretary, please take roll call.
Commissioner Garcia?
Here.
Commissioner McGee?
Here.
Commissioner Chong?
Here.
Commissioner Pena?
Here.
Commissioner Rubio?
Here.
Commissioner Seattle?
Here.
Seeing a quorum, this meeting is officially called to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. This is a time for the Commission to consider matters under the consent calendar. These items include 1 and 2. Do any members have any corrections to the minutes or items they wish to pull for separate discussion or abstain on? Okay. Do I have a motion to consider items 1 and 2?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes with unanimous consent. Okay, for the business calendar, we have one business calendar item. Please note that there will be a motion or action taken on this item. The item is number 3, election of officers. Oh, we're not going to do the reporting out first? Maybe not. Okay. So the item is number 3, election of officers for the 2018-2019 term. And the floor is now open for nominations for chairperson. Are there any volunteers or recommendations for chair? I have a recommendation. I would like to recommend Commissioner Cha for chair. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a second. All those, do we have the person address the committee? Do we want to do that? How do we normally do it?
Well, we have a second, so then
We could just vote? Okay. All right. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. The motion passes by unanimous consent. Congratulations.
Abstain in that vote.
Okay, except for one abstention. And then do I still do it, or do I finish out the chairing? Okay. The floor is now open for nominations for vice chairperson. And are there any volunteers or recommendations for vice chair? Okay, I would like to make a nomination, but I know that there are considerations with my nomination, so I have a backup nomination. But I would like to officially nominate, Ms. Rosa Garcia. So I know you have a lot on your plate. What are you thinking? Maybe backup? What do you think?
Go with your backup this time.
Okay, then I nominate now. I rescind my nomination for Rosa Garcia because she is a superstar and rising even higher. And now I come here to our new commissioner who's going to serve a full term here. And Adolfo, I nominate you as vice chair. And if someone wants to second that?
Second.
All right, we have a second. If all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, congratulations and welcome and congratulations. We put you right into the hot seat, so thank you.
I think you have to vote still.
Oh, we have to vote? Okay.
Just for the nomination.
Oh, okay, I think we voted. Did we vote? No, we voted, yeah. It's official. At least it's unanimous. So, congratulations, Adolfo.
Thank you.
So, that's the end of the business calendar, and now we have a work study session. Okay. So would I continue to chair at this point, or how does it work?
Yes, you will.
This meeting?
The current term goes through this meeting, so that the new chair and vice chair will start with the next meeting.
Okay, got it. All right, thanks. Okay, so work study session. We have one work study session. Please note that there will be no motion or action taken on this item. And this is reporting out from the Arts and Culture Master Plan Implementation Priorities Ad Hoc Committee. Okay, so that's me. I will report on this matter, and I think I gave out all of my reports like a like a dope. Okay, I got one here. Thank you. All right. So we had several meetings to decide upon, to identify priorities in the Arts Master Plan implementation, to provide a roadmap on how to resourcefully plan for active implementation. Some of the master plan priorities are already being addressed, like a lot of youth education goals are being already dealt with by SAUSD, and Arts Commission staffing issues are being dealt with and have been dealt with by the City of Santa Ana. So some of the remaining master plan priorities have to do with cultivating revenue and connecting to the regional arts, creative, technology, and design economy. The subcommittee chose the following priorities. 1, creating a mural ordinance with a history of the problem, the definition of what is a mural, local, regional laws that have been developed and policies around this topic, and then to structure a program and reach out to strategic partners in that endeavor. Number 2, to visit cities with vibrant arts and culture hubs and communities. And we've identified the 3 California Cultural District winners as affinity cities that have these are all cities that have won the California Cultural District's designation and have strong affinities with the city of Santa Ana. So, we can study them and hopefully put together a more competitive proposal next year. The cities are San Francisco, the Mission District, and there's a website for each of them. Lancaster, the Boulevard. San Francisco, the Mission District, I think we should look at, branding. They have a very vibrant mural arts program, great, very strong tourism connection. So those are some affinities with San Francisco, the Mission. Lancaster, the Boulevard, some good affinities there are excellent live-work housing models. They have a very fiscally and economically resourceful model of development that they've used. A lot of public-private funding with, for example, aerospace paying for their entire mural program because a lot of it featured aerospace pioneers and test pilots, so that, they've also diversified revenue streams for their cultural centers, have really innovative ways of raising money for galleries. And oh, hi, Stephen, I just saw you. Hi, welcome. Sorry, I hyper-focused here. And also San Diego Barrio Logan. And the affinity there is that they're a very vibrant social justice community that is also developing their downtown economically and as a tourist destination. So they have great models with different, MAD, maintenance assessment districts, different models so that we have alternatives to the traditional PBID for development that doesn't aggravate gentrification issues. And that's something they've been very successful at in San Diego. So number 3, working collectively towards a robust infrastructure for the arts, exploring long-term funding options for arts and cultural investments, and to ensure implementation. And 3, creating the conditions where artists and creatives thrive professionally and have the resources for sustained success. And support and strengthen the burgeoning creative economy in Santa Ana, which at the statewide level brings in more revenue than agriculture and arts and creative economy. We don't get any subsidies, not the kind of subsidies agriculture gets, but we bring in more. So that's something to think about. Okay, so to create that in Santa Ana, raise awareness of the positive impact of the arts, culture, and creativity on Santa Ana's overall economic development. And 5, to support existing and create new opportunities for youth to engage in artistic and creative activities and career pathways. In order to address the above-mentioned items, the Arts Master Plan Implementation Subcommittee recommends the creation of 3 subcommittees and the relaunch of the Arts Master Plan Steering Committee. The 3 subcommittees would be Revenue Development, to identify and research revenue-building projects like partnerships with the Planning Commission, street festivals, the cannabis industry, hospitality tax, film and TV production, advertising, business districts like media, like maintenance assessment districts, and T-bids, which are tourism assessment districts, 1% or a penny for the arts fund. So these are all possible areas of exploration for that subcommittee. Number 2, mural ordinance. To research, develop, and revise the language for a mural ordinance to submit to staff and city council so that we won't have ongoing 6-year, decade-long mural wars and misunderstandings. And 3, the Arts Master Plan Active Implementation Subcommittee to guide the implementation efforts in collaboration with the Arts Master Plan Steering Committee, which can be then renamed the Implementation Committee. A collection of our local stakeholders, arts stakeholders that helped form our Arts Master Plan, that are most familiar with them, and our representatives of our leaders in a whole area of from education to business all over the city, and can really be partners in implementing our Arts Master Plan. So the first 2 would be formed immediately, and the last in coordination with the relaunch of the Arts Master Plan Steering Committee, which when this was written, it was 2 to 3 months. It was probably about a month ago or so. So I think we were talking about maybe having a public reception, or the staff will work with our resources to host a public reception. So right around, we're thinking maybe September might be a good time, right when the awards are going out for the individual artist grants and the organizational artist grants. And at that time, we might actually have our arts restroom possibly completed or have done something significant so we would have a lot to celebrate this fall. And that might be a great time to start up that last master plan implementation subcommittee at that time, maybe in next month, August or September would be good. So we're kind of on track with that. And that's pretty much it. If does anyone have any questions or any comments they wish to share with the commission on this?
I have a question. Whatever happened to our sister city program and subcommittee?
Yeah, we did not discuss that. We did not discuss it, and I think it just went away. And I don't know. Does staff have any answers on sister cities? I know we've revived it and shelved it, and I don't know where we're at with sister cities.
I'm doing research on the sister city, and in fact, Commissioner Sierra and I will be meeting next week to talk about that more with different possibilities. So I'm not sure exactly where that's going. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
I was just curious because at one time we had a committee and then it kind of fell apart. And, yeah.
Yeah.
I think, I know for myself and for Tram, we were not here for any of that, so it's kind of us kind of maybe plugging the pieces.
Yeah, I think from what I understand, there's interest. Obviously it's in the master plan, or it's in the strategic plan,
I think
the
so.
city's strategic plan. But there has not been a consensus on how do we select these cities and what are the goals for having a sister city.
Well, I think Commissioner McGee is saying that we had
We had
one.
criteria. We had criteria and goals.
Oh,
But that we had a subcommittee.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
you
did
actually
have
had
a
a
subcommittee.
subcommittee. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I think we met 2 or 3 times, maybe 3.
Yeah, I think 3 times. Yeah.
Yeah.
2014.
Oh, okay.
That maybe that was the last one. We had the last meeting maybe 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, maybe.
May I ask who was on that committee? Or subcommittee?
Myself,
Uh-huh.
Mr. McGee, and Don Cribb.
Okay.
And I believe that was the last time we saw him. I think was at that subcommittee. They got pretty heated. But I think part of the issue is that in different forms, this just for our new members, just so you're aware, we had this interest in having sister cities, and we wanted to have multiple sister cities. So we wanted to have a sister city internationally, but in the Americas, so like Canada or Mexico. We wanted to have a domestic, like maybe another sister city in America, maybe one in Asia. maybe one overseas in Europe, but we wanted to start locally, so we were looking at Mexico as potentially our first sister city. And there were some discussion of different cities like Tasco, Guanajuato, Guadalajara, Mexico City. So we reached out to our Mexican consulate, who actually gave us, like, I think a little presentation or some materials on some of these cities. And then we were supposed to set up a trip that was going to be partially sponsored by those Mexican states, because they're really interested in, right?
Didn't Guanajuato, I thought, gave us an invitation, as I recall?
Guanajuato did give us an invitation, I believe.
Right.
Maybe Adolfo, I'm not sure, I don't remember if you were a part of that, but
No, not officially. It was a conversation. It started with conversation about it, but it was never follow up. And I believe after the last time I was here presenting, nothing else happened.
yeah, so maybe we had, I'm not sure what the thing was, but just to catch you up, we were at the point, because through two different ways under Gerardo, we had, I think, I thought we had some conversation under Gerardo where we started Sister Cities under Gerardo, I thought. And then we considered different things. We got to Guanajuato, and then we had to start all over again. I think that was part of John's frustration under Kelly, maybe. We had to restart, and do it all over again. So then we came to Guanajuato again as our final sister city. And then I think the issue was that as the word got out to the wider community that we were considering Guanajuato, the outside community, I think Michoacan for sure, and I don't know, some other Zacatecas. There was 2 or 3 other majority Mexican groups in the city that were like, why Guanajuato? So then some council people started getting bombarded with you can't just give it to somebody because there's no process. It's like, well, no, we actually had a process twice, but it was not a public process. So then there was a talk and the request, and I don't know if we fully discussed that request at that last meeting because it was kind of truncated, but the request was from council that maybe we should create a public process where every interested state could do their song and dance. We know Guanajuato fits all of our criteria because we had criteria, and maybe we can dig up the criteria to send it to you. Tram, I know one of them was we wanted somebody that had a developed tourism structure. We wanted a state that had a well-developed festival. Guanajuato has a Cervantino, and they have, and a good, international kind of, reputation. We wanted someone also had significant manufacturing, assets, so yes.
Madam Chair, if I may.
Yes.
I want to steer you back to the
Okay, all right.
Get away from, I'll give you a little levity to talk about Sister City, but you're getting into an area where it's not on the agenda.
Okay, all right.
Take the conversation a little bit
Yeah.
on that topic, so let's rein it back in
Okay.
to your final report if we could.
Okay, all
And
right.
if you certainly would like to agendize a Sister City discussion, you can do that for a future meeting.
Okay, maybe we could do that for
Sorry.
a future meeting. Oh, it's it's good.
I
We
have
want
to
to
be
get
the
to this
regulator.
reception too. Yeah,
Have
so
to
it's
keep
good.
everyone out of trouble.
No
I have
problem.
a question
Yes, okay.
about when we were talking about the subcommittees, even if they're ad hoc, it does require a lot of staff time. Does that come from the arts and culture budget, the staff time overseeing the committees?
Yes, I don't, staff doesn't necessarily have to oversee these committees if it's an ad hoc, but I choose to sit in on them to participate.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
If I can continue.
yeah,
So just looking at this, it does seem like the one that has the most clear deliverable and something that can be handled in this type of a committee would be creating a mural ordinance. This seems like it's been something we've been talking about for 4 years, and it seems like it would be the high priority.
well, they're all kind of priorities because without revenue, this commission doesn't exist, right? Because the reason why the city council voted to have this commission is because they saw the potential that it would become a revenue building resource on the part of the planning commission. And so the discussion that council had when they approved this commission was no other commission makes money for the city like planning, But if we form an arts commission, we will be able to access all of these revenue potential of the creative economy. So let's form an art commission, and then they will become a revenue builder for the city, like planning. So it was a part of our initial purpose to be a revenue generating entity for the city and for ourselves. So that's why that's there as the first priority, because without the resources, we can't do anything else. You know, we wouldn't even exist, and we are not guaranteed future funding from the city for future years either. This is the last year we're guaranteed funding. So if we don't start asking these questions now, there's just no commission next year.
So in the time that we do have funding secured, would it be in our best interest to actually leave something that could have a long-term impact on the arts community here in Santa Ana by creating something in writing, like it's the mural ordinance?
Yeah, but we could still do that because the mural ordinance, we're not reinventing that. We thankfully, LA and San Diego have very functional mural ordinances, and they've sent us a lot of the materials already. So we just need a body to review those materials together.
And I don't think that they're mutually exclusive. I think the mural ordinance, while we have suggested the creation of a subcommittee, that may not actually be the proper mechanism in which we come up with a mural ordinance. It's my understanding with some prior discussions that it may be something that's completely staff-driven, but that that the staff would kind of put the language together, or with the city attorney. I don't know if you could maybe explain that process a little bit.
Yes. So the process for creating ordinances typically. Those will be created by staff at the direction of the director and the city manager. So the approval will come from the staff side, from the top executive, the EMT level. They will give direction that an ordinance is wanted to go up to city council, so staff will prepare that. It will then come to this commission for review and consideration. Your input, your ideas would be very beneficial. We'd go back, make revisions as appropriate, bring it back to you for recommendation up to city council. City council takes the final vote on ordinances.
So I think that that's maybe something that we can kind of turn over and not necessarily have it come out of our budget, and we can move on and work on other things. Maybe we can kind of give some parameters of things that we think might be important to address in an ordinance, or I don't know how you.
We've listed some of them here. Oh no, we didn't.
I can help. Thanks, I can help. Steve Mendoza, Executive Director. When drafting an ordinance, there's no real process or procedure. A lot of cities choose to not reinvent the wheel. So my normal process with a subcommittee or an ad hoc committee is to give you 3 good versions of some cities.
Which we actually have already.
Yeah, we've already reached out to LA.
You take it and you highlight it.
Yeah.
We draft something that we think will pass muster with you. Then we bring it back to you to formalize, and then it goes up the ranks.
So then
eventually
it
gets to a council committee, and then to a city council.
So then it does sound like maybe we can formalize what we had started in the implementation or the priorities committee with the reports that each of us had generated or were suggested to generate, and then we can give that to you, because we're just honestly about maybe 2 steps away from being able to hand over a packet of information from 3 different cities that we had looked at as potential models.
And then the heavy lifting is done by the commission. Then Tram and the staff will polish it up, bring it back to you formalized. Then you'll get the rest of the commission on board with that version. Council sees these agendas. They'll know what you're doing. They know it's coming their way. But at least, how many are on the committee? 2 or 3? 2?
3 usually. On
So
the
at least you have
subcommittees.
3 people that will support what we bring to you. And then you try to gain the adherence of the rest in doing it. But it doesn't go to council until you guys have all agreed upon the terms that are in it, and you think that's what the public wants. You're closest to what the public may want. You're closest to what the art community may want. So then you make it your own document, and it pushes up through there.
So I think that there's also, something that we could maybe do to engage the community is to at least maybe have some sort of a forum in which we invite people to tell us exactly, what they perceive as problems that could potentially be alleviated if there was some sort of formal policy or ordinance. So I think these are all things that I would suggest if we were to move forward with the subcommittee. And I think with regard to the revenue issue that you were just discussing, we need to make sure that our commission stays alive first. And so I think we were thinking about some of these other avenues of maybe partnering with the planning or Parks and Rec for festivals, or to be able to generate some money for our commission at a minimum, and then maybe more going from there. But our main concern was the viability of the commission to be able to do the work that we're trying to do.
And I just want to further clarify, I did find actually for the priorities and the topics for that mural ordinance, that number 2 subcommittee, in the priorities, in the summary of priorities, under number 1, that's kind of an outline of the topics that we would need to cover: the history of the problem, the definition of the mural, of what is a mural, local laws that have been developed, and policies. And those are, we've already gotten a lot of material from Los Angeles and other communities. How they
we were looking at Los Angeles, Philadelphia, and was it San Diego?
I thought it was San Diego.
Yeah, I think it was those 3.
And then structure of what the program would look like, and strategic partners that could help us, like anti-graffiti coat providers, etc. So that's that's kind of clear there. And then we have already documents that we're ready to review. So maybe that would be a very short-lived, hopefully a very short-lived subcommittee. Hopefully we can get that done in 2 months. And then, any other questions about the report?
Yes. So for the last one on number 3, the active implementation committee. So the master plan steering committee would then be the implementation committee.
That would be our representatives that would work with the master plan steering committee, because they're not us. They're a group from the community that over the course of a year was actually a really good representative group of the community. And we have Robin McNair's on it. We have some folks from Segerstrom. We have Bowers people. We have a lot of our grassroots and we can add people too if we see that somebody maybe doesn't want it, because some people dropped off. So there's room to maybe add 2 or 3 more people if we see that there's an area that's not covered. But they helped form the the arts master plan, so they're familiar with it. They helped kind of shepherd that and guide that and help us do our outreach in the community. So now that we've got the plan, a lot of them have been asking us, right? Have been asking staff, when are we going to get activated to do the implementation? Because they were told that after you put together this plan and it goes through the process, gets voted on, it's going to come back to them, and then they would help implement it. And so they've been in a holding pattern. I know Mr. Holland over at Segerstrom's been in a holding pattern. I know Victor's been asking, and different people have been asking, when are we going to start implementing? Because normally that's the next step. When SAUSD came up with their master plan, they had a full day where they invited in their stakeholders and the people that had helped in the community, and they rolled out and they presented their master plan to the public, to their public stakeholders. They started dividing up, like, hey, what areas do you want to work on? And that's how they started doing their implementation, which they're doing right now.
So is that what you imagine this group to look like?
Yeah, basically.
So I was trying to get an idea of what.
Yeah, so
because we can't do all that work. We have limited time,
we can't
expertise.
Keep creating subcommittee after subcommittee after subcommittee.
But 20 people that want to do the work, let them do the work, and 3 of us, will kind of be that bridge of reporting back, hey, this is what's going on. Because all of us can't be at those implementation subcommittee meetings because of the Brown Act.
So 2 of us.
2. Okay, so 2.
To avoid the Brown Act.
Okay, so 2 to avoid the Brown Act.
So then this is just gathering all these people together in one room, having them sorted out, and having two
They
representatives
were
from
directed
each
with
community.
staff. That's how it worked with the master plan. So they kind of are used to working kind of autonomous, but they need some direction. So at that time, we did not have a dedicated staffer. We now do. But then this would be kind of like the intermediary subcommittee with that body, between this body and that body. And maybe we end up not needing it. Maybe it's just like in the beginning, we just get it started, do the rollout, present it, and maybe we don't need it. Maybe it's just staff and them, and then we roll it out and we check in. That's possible, but in the beginning, just to get it started, we wanted to have a little subcommittee because we've already spent $175,000 at least in putting together the Arts Master Plan. So we just want to, it's been almost 2 years since we've completed it, and we just need to start implementing it, especially since the clock is ticking. And we were given a chronological 2 years to implement this Arts Master Plan, and chronologically we have used up those 2 years not implementing it because we have had, we haven't had staff, we've had transition, in leadership. So now this is our opportunity to finally do that.
Okay.
Any other questions?
So that is our recommendation.
Yes, those are recommendations. So it sounds like at the next meeting or at the comments, right, that potentially these subcommittees could be formed, or that's how I understand subcommittees get formed. Is that correct? Legal?
So, according to your bylaws, you've got 2 different types of committees. There's standing committees and there's ad hoc committees. These standing committees cannot just be appointed and created. They would need to be agendized and voted on. And the bylaws do recognize how intensive it is on staff due to the Brown Act requirements. And so it asks that those only be formed only when absolutely necessary. Ad hoc committees can be appointed by the chair. So that is something that you can create. Again, taking into consideration the staff time and effort that goes into them, we would ask that you try to limit it as much as possible. Also, a big distinction between the standing committees and the ad hoc committees is that standing committees are kind of created with a more general purpose that's potentially ongoing, versus ad hoc committees, which are supposed to be designed for a particular project or something that has a definitive end date. Where looking at your 3 proposals here, something like the mural ordinance, that's a specific project that will have an end date when it gets taken up to city council, and so that seems appropriate for an ad hoc committee. Your first one, revenue development, seems to be a much broader concept that doesn't really focus on any particular project. That might seem more like a standing committee. If you were to break out maybe one particular item within that, or focus on a particular festival or something that you wanted to work on, that might work more as an ad hoc committee. So that's the essential distinction between those 2.
Okay.
And then what would your thoughts be on the number 3, the implementation? Would that be
To be honest with you, I was just a bit confused on that one. I don't know your committees quite as well. I kind of saw the committee that's reporting out as being the implementation committee, so it sounded like it was the same committee. So I'm not sure if a new one is needed or if it would just be the same committee that you already have
I
in
think we were
place.
actually the priorities committee.
I think it's supposed to be like the implementation priorities committee that then was going to recommend an implementation, because the implementation, there's like 20 recommendations, and so we didn't want to go right into trying to implement 20 recommendations. So we decided, let's form a priorities committee. We'll turn those 20 recommendations into 5, and then we'll be in a place to be able to form that implementation subcommittee, because it'll be a manageable task. And so
I would have
hopefully-
to defer to staff on that
Okay.
one in terms of what's best, to maneuver there from a legal standpoint. It sounds as if it could be created as a specific project with an end deadline, so it could be an ad hoc, but seems like you already have a standing committee though, so maybe you continue with that standing committee.
We don't have any standing committees. We've already sunsetted it. It's
Yeah,
We don't have any
are we
committees
allowed
now.
to
So-
have advisory boards or advisory groups, community advisory group?
So your bylaws just lay out the standing committee and the ad hoc committee.
I see. Okay. Volunteers are okay though?
Interns or volunteers to assist with the work of the ad hoc committees?
I mean, I think that's what staff is here for,
Okay.
to assist you with those.
Okay. So, are there any other questions or comments? Okay, well, that was a robust discussion.
Just tell us what we need to do.
Yeah, so I think I have an idea, and but we can move on to public comments if we're ready to, if we're ready to move beyond the work study session, because the recommending of the committees happens in commission comments, correct? As according to our bylaws, the chair makes those recommendations in commission comments, correct?
I believe it
I
can.
think so.
Let's see. I'll just read straight from the bylaws. It says the chair will appoint ad hoc committees created for a specific task on an as needed basis to study a specific topic or subject and return to the full commission with a recommendation. So I actually think it can be created
Right now? Okay.
Right now.
All right, so then right now, I just want to let staff know that the intention for these standing committees, at least for two of them,
Standing or ad hoc?
Sorry, ad hoc. The vision is that we will have these ad hoc committees, hopefully for only 2 months. So hopefully not forever. We just need to get some, intense meetings. Hopefully 2. We've been very productive, and I know with Jessica, she's going to make sure we get it done in record time, 11 minutes. So, I would. So hopefully that mural ordinance is just reviewing material that we already have, and we can hopefully come up with a draft real quickly to give to staff. So hopefully no more than 1 or 2 months. And with the implementation also, hopefully we can just, advise and get that reception together and kind of onboard the steering committee, and then maybe that one won't have to exist beyond 2 or 3 months also, because after September, hopefully we've had the reception, they're onboarded, they have an orientation, and then it's just a matter of staff reporting back what's going on and us communicating with staff, and maybe we don't even need that one. But the finance one, I think it would be good just to get it started, because we have some things that we've already talked about and we want to identify as tangible, kind of low-hanging fruit as revenue streams that we can already set up within the city. We have other commissions, other departments that want to create these partnerships. So maybe once those are created, at that point, we have a little money coming in, then maybe the commissioners can make a decision if they want to sunset it, or if they want to turn it into a broader standing committee that is a finance committee that reaches out and, exists throughout time, ongoing. That might be a decision for later. So that one probably is going to turn into a standing committee eventually. So I just want to let staff know that. So with that said, I want to make a recommendation to create a mural ordinance subcommittee. And I'd like to...
It's technically actually an ad hoc committee.
Oh,
is the
sorry,
term that needs to be used.
ad hoc committee. Okay, so mural ordinance ad hoc committee. And the folks who would be working to review that, some folks that have already done some of the work, I think. Jessica, would you like to move forward with the mural? Okay, to be on it?
So, Chair, as part of the creation of the ad hoc committee, you have to state when the committee will be ending.
Okay, I would say that this, it should end, right now it's July, August, so we would maybe meet in August, September. I don't think it should go beyond October. I think we should complete everything that we need to and give it over to staff, I think, by October. So that would be the estimated sunset for that subcommittee. And then I believe the other person that had done some work with the mural ordinance with Rosa, but Rosa, I know you're really busy, so do you want to continue with that, or would you like to invite another commissioner to maybe?
Can another commissioner? Can another commissioner volunteer?
Okay, so other commissioners, you've got 2 months that there could be participation. We have an extra spot to help draft because it would be Jessica, probably myself.
Wait, so in order for us to not have to do the what is it, the reporting in the
Brown Act?
Brown Act, how many people is that? 2?
It's 3.
3? Under 3? 3
Yeah.
under? Oh.
They only have to do the Brown Act if it's standing.
But they can't.
If it's a standing committee. If it's an ad hoc, they don't have to.
Even if it's, okay.
Because we're not allowed to meet more than 3 anyway, whether it's standing or ad hoc. We're not allowed to meet more than 3 of us.
Okay.
So I will put myself on that so we can also work to get that done. And so we have one more spot. So Mr. McGee, I know you have a background in public art. I don't know if you want to take on an extra meeting a month. Or Adolfo, you're now the vice chair. So I don't know if you want to take, you're a busy guy too. I don't know if you're interested and we all know. Okay. So it could just be the 2 of us too. Right now we're not required to have 3, right? So should we go with, are you busy guy? Busy guy. You're like, okay, all right, let's just do it as 2 right now. Does that work? 2.
To expire October 18th.
Okay, well, Jessica's gonna keep me on task, and we're gonna get this done so fast. Maybe we'll set another record of a 1-month commission, 1 month ad hoc subcommittee.
Commissioner Pena, I'll go ahead and continue.
You're gonna do it?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll continue. So I can
Oh,
finish
thank
up with
you.
guys and get
But
this
we
thing
are
done.
going to get this done in record
Yeah,
time.
definitely.
And we know that Jessica's
Okay.
going to make that happen. Okay, so then it's the 3 of us. So Rosa, myself, and Jessica. And hopefully going no further than October, hopefully a lot sooner.
Could we specify October 18th, which is the date of your meeting?
Yes, let's specify October 18th. That's the end of that.
October 31st?
Because it's our meeting. So he'd like to have it sunsetted.
Report out on October 18th.
So report out that it's gone. Okay, so
No
October
later than
18th.
October 18th.
That sounds good. October 18th. You got it. And then I'd also like to create an arts master plan subcommittee. And that would also sunset on October 18th because we're going to have our reception in September sometime.
We're asking for a reception in September.
Yes, we're asking for a reception.
Chair Pena, based on the conversation we've had here and the discussion, I'm failing to see the exact specific project that group would be meeting for. It still seems to be a bit general.
The arts master plan?
Because you have several items as part of the master plan.
That's because if you go up here to working collectively, I forget if in the top subcommittee priority list, we were talking about activating our steering committee. So since we have now brought the 20 criteria, the 20 recommendations, we've distilled them down to 5, then it would be about how are we going to present those 5 to our subcommittee. So it would be finding out who's on the subcommittee, finalizing that list, reaching out to them, creating this event that we're also going to piggyback, hopefully our bathroom, inauguration and our awards on.
I actually have a recommendation, is that maybe what we can do is we can have staff reach out to the old steering committee and ask them if they're first still interested in being involved, and maybe having them,
They
we
could
can
do
just-
that.
Yeah, we can just have set a meeting date and see to what capacity they want to be involved, and maybe we can just have them elect somebody or designate someone who can kind of lead that effort and be the liaison to our commission. And then if they come up with specific issues that they want to, work on, then maybe we can create these ad hoc committees with those select number of individuals.
I just think that because the expectation is that we're going to have an event to present the master plan to at least our committee, that was when we went into it, that was an expectation of the steering committee that they would.
Are we actually going to be able to have an event?
We are hopeful that we can have the event. On September, but I don't know if we'll have time to be able to present the whole master plan and all of that.
Not the master plan, but just to at least activate them, because I think we're going to come up with a framework or like a structure, and even if it's on a paper, like, hey, you got invited to this party. We want to thank you for helping us get to this place of creating this arts master plan. Here's the level of involvement you can have in the future. You can continue to be a part of this transition committee, or you could be, an advocate and be on the email list or whatever.
So I
so
think
3 tiers. We presented, but this body would start to say, hey, how are we going to structure that? What would the language be? Let's help organize this event. Let maybe find some people to subsidize it. Like maybe somebody, a restaurant, somebody knows. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so then I think what you're talking about is
it's like
an
onboarding.
ad hoc committee to reestablish the steering committee.
And just kick off the implementation, because they're supposed to do the implementation directed by us. But we need some kind of a little committee that is going to set up the structure.
Reestablish.
To on-ramp them, to reestablish and launch them. So what should we call it that?
Well, I don't even know if we need an ad hoc committee to reestablish the subcommittee. I don't know if it's necessary.
Maybe not.
If it's coming from Tram and she's like sending out an email, or we draft an email for you to send out, or you draft an email, and just invite them to this event, and let them know that we would like to have a specific conversation with them as a group. Maybe invite them a half hour early, or something of that nature. I don't know, because again, given the general nature of it, I think we need to be sensitive to that, and maybe we can kind of do it without creating a formal.
Unless if you want to look at it as from now until September, if you want to create, let's just say ambitiously would be 6 different presentations of the master plans along with the priorities, and so almost like an unveiling. If you want to go to 6 different wards, that's one way, or just once or twice from now until September, and gather. And if you want a subcommittee for that, perhaps, then that would activate the steering committee again in a concrete way.
I don't know that logistically, we could do that in 2 or 3 months.
It is
But
too rushed.
I just think that we need to. We've got this report, and we could use subcommittee time to work out benchmarks that are meaningful, that we want to as it's orientation, setting up benchmarks, maybe some goals. Because we have these. We reported on these in a very, very simple way, these 5 items. But maybe if we're getting ready to, prepare for this rollout in September, a subcommittee could give us the opportunity to, set up some benchmarks and goals for each one. So what would it look like to, to do each one? That's I don't know that we have enough time within this meeting to do that, but maybe we do. But if we just tried 2 months from now to September to get that done, I don't know.
Would a ad hoc committee, council, to reactivate the steering committee, would that be specific enough?
If you have a deadline and end date to it, I think that could work.
So then maybe we can just do an ad hoc committee to try and reestablish the steering committee.
So it could be, it's like or could it be to kick off implementation? Because reestablishing the steering committee is part of it, but another part of it is establishing goals.
So then what we can do is...
And establishing metrics.
So then what we can do is we can create an ad hoc committee to establish...
or to launch or kick off the implementation. Because now we've got the priorities for the implementation. And what we have to do is transfer those priorities to this body that we hope is still going to be there. Some of them are. At least probably half of them are there.
And then Chair Pena, as a quick reminder as well on these ad hoc committees, the point as well is to kind of say, for example, you're talking about creating some goals and whatnot. It is to kind of have that discussion with your ad hoc committee and report it back to this body. So really anything that you would be setting up as goals or whatnot for your steering committee would come back here first for everyone to discuss and talk about and, say that's what we want as our goals for this steering committee. So, it's potentially something that could be discussed
How about this?
with the whole group.
Since we all know about the Arts Master Plan and we now have it and we have some new members and stuff, maybe, do folks feel good about maybe us, now that we have some priorities, coming up with some structures and goals and benchmarks so that when we do bring on the steering committee, we don't need this subcommittee because we can discuss this in our meetings. I mean, we don't really have to discuss that much. We can review.
Well, let me just ask. I know the work study session says that we're reporting out. Does that mean that we're now sunsetting the implementation priorities ad hoc committee?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The priorities is no longer there because this is a report. That means it's no longer an existing.
Finished.
But we could set up another one to
So I think,
or we could
I think
discuss it
let's make
here.
this- let's do this informally
Mm-hmm.
for now, because I don't think we have a good understanding now that we have some feedback from council.
Okay.
Maybe we can do it at the next meeting. Have
Put
some
it on the
sessions,
agenda that we will
next-
come and maybe bring in,
Another ad hoc committee, but I think for now, today. I
or
think
maybe even bring in some direction and ideas so that maybe we don't need that ad hoc
correct.
by next time that we meet.
Right, so I think we can communicate informally.
So maybe we could have it on an agenda to discuss the relaunch of the steering committee and the event, and we can just discuss it within our regular meeting next month, so that we don't start that ad hoc right now.
I'm just saying, let's table this.
Okay,
And then
that
we can
that
talk-
one.
We can table the recommendation for the implementation ad hoc committee. Let's table that until the next meeting,
Mhm.
and then we can kind of informally talk amongst ourselves as to exactly what we're thinking, and then we can have it as an agenda item for
Yeah.
the next meeting, and we'll have some more concrete, recommendations. I think today, having a mural ordinance ad hoc committee formed is a huge step in the right direction.
Mhm.
And I think I would also like to table the issue of the revenue development, because I think it can tie into this other group of people who may also have some suggestions. It could be some, community partners and have some ideas. So I think those two can kind of go together for the next meeting. I also kind of want to wrap things up.
Okay, yeah. I'd like to start. I think if we could put it on the agenda, the restarting of our steering committee and how we would do that, and the structuring of this event, and how we can pull together the resources to make that happen. If we can have that on the agenda and discuss it at our next meeting, then maybe we don't need to have a separate subcommittee for that. I do think it's important to just start a conversation internally, though, about revenue, so I would like to have a revenue subcommittee.
My suggestion would be to send an email out to the people who are on the steering committee and actually invite them to come to our next commission meeting and have them speak. And then they can give us input, and we can listen to them for 3 minutes each and see what they want to do. And that way we don't actually have to create any committee or any ad hoc committee, and we'll just hear from them and,
Well, my concern with that is that we have not presented anything to them. We've never had a public rollout or presentation of our Arts Master Plan. We did a lot of kickoff.
No, that's not what I'm saying, is that we're going to have an agenda item of potentially having an ad hoc committee for this implementation.
Right, but I'm just saying, if we invite them to come and speak to us, what would they, because they've been telling us what's going on, when are you going to have this kickoff for us? And then to get a message saying, come and talk about this to us.
Well, they're going to have a chance to comment after we have our work study session, or, would it be work study or whatever calendar item, however it gets onto the agenda, their comments would be coming after our discussion, right?
Our discussion of implementation?
Potentially.
Or-
But again, I really do think
Yeah.
that we need to table this item and we need to talk offline about this.
About the finance one.
Both of them. I think we've pegged down the mural ordinance ad hoc committee, and I think for today, I think that's probably the only thing that everybody in this room agrees upon.
Okay. All right, so we could do that. We could table both of them, and then, we do, I do think that we do need to have some kind of, revenue development. It's super important for the survival. But, we could have another conversation about that and then develop it next time. That's fine.
Because I think also staff has yet to report on our budget for this year, so I think
Can we have a budget presentation next time? Would that be good? Because the budget just barely got approved, right?
Whatever you would like on the agenda, we would like to hear a motion, the language you would like on the agenda, and a second. And we'll be glad to put anything you want on the agenda.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Okay, so I make a motion to put a budget presentation on the next agenda, and I make a motion to do that. If I have a second.
second.
Okay, so we have that. I make a motion to put.
And the vote?
You actually have to.
Oh, we have to vote. Sorry. Okay, so can we all vote on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so we got that. Okay, so I make another motion to put a discussion about finances after that budget presentation on the agenda. And do I have a second on that?
I think we need a little more clarity on the distinction there and what you want to discuss and
Okay.
what you'd like to see.
I want to have a discussion about, where is it here? Oh, here it is. Working collectively. Oh, here it is. Revenue development. So I want to have a discussion about finances in terms of revenue development, and make a motion to have that discussion on the agenda. The discussion would entail identifying and researching revenue building projects, as stated in, number 1. So like partnerships with the planning commission, different commissions, street festivals, cannabis industry, hospitality. It's all there in number 1. So that's what we would discuss. And then we would have also on the agenda
Let's get a second.
Oh, sorry. Let's get a second on that.
Second.
Okay, we have a second. Let's vote on that. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you.
Before we move on, I'd like to make a motion to defer the issue of the master plan steering committee ad hoc committee to our next meeting and have that be placed on the agenda for discussion as well.
Okay, do I need to say that? Right?
I made a motion.
But how does that work? 'Cause
Then she would get a second.
I didn't know because I thought only chairs right now make. Okay, second. All right, then let's all vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay.
For clarification purposes, what is the subject?
The motion is to defer continued discussion of the Arts Master Plan Steering Committee
Relaunch.
reactivation.
Yeah.
And part 1, and then part 2 would be to have that discussion actually placed on the agenda.
For next
For
meeting
next
also.
meeting.
So those are 3
No,
agenda
part- no, no, no.
items
Part
for next
one.
meeting.
For,
Oh,
for
part one.
my motion,
Okay.
part 1 and part 2, defer and place on the agenda. Okay.
Commissioner Cha, it is actually, you don't need to defer anything because nothing's on the agenda tonight.
Okay.
So you're just making the motion of what you would like on the agenda, and it would help staff if they knew exactly the wording you'd like on that agenda.
So you make a motion to
So
put an
I
item on the
I
agenda.
make a motion to put the issue or this discussion of the Arts Master Plan Steering Committee reactivation on the agenda for the next meeting.
Perfect.
Thank you.
And do you have a second? Yes, I'll second. Well, okay, you have a second. And I think that's enough. Is that
And
enough?
then the chair would call for the vote.
All right, so we can all vote on this. We have a first and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay. So that motion passes unanimously. So we have, thank you, we have had 3 agenda items put on and 1 subcommittee created. So yay, thank you. That was fabulous.
Ad hoc committee.
Ad hoc committee, sorry. Okay, that was a lot of information, and thank you everyone for cooperating and guiding us through. It is now, so I think we've ended the work study session, correct? And now we can move on to the time for comments, public comments. Does the public have any comments they wish to share with the commission? You have 3 minutes to speak. Anybody? No? Well, thank you for joining us, public. So we will move on now to staff member comments. Does staff have any comments they wish to share with the commission?
Yes, I have only good news to share with you this time. The fiscal year 2018-2019 budget has been approved for $275,000 for the Arts and Culture office, and I will provide you with details of the next Arts Commission meeting as you had requested. At this past Tuesday, July 17th City Council meeting, the list of grantees for the investing in the arts grant opportunity was approved 6-0 with Councilmember Michelle Martinez absent. And the downtown restroom art and lighting, the one that's on, I forgot what street, but between Bush,
Third and Bush.
Third and Bush, has been finally approved with funds encumbered from the fiscal year 2017 to 2018 to be carried to this year. So we don't have to use any funds from this year for that. We can use last year's funds. The lighting installation contractor was approved. Lighting fixtures are being ordered. It will take about 6 weeks, and 1 week to install the lights, and then 1 to 2 weeks to install the artwork after that with the metal panels that they'll be on. That's it.
Excellent. That's excellent news. Thank you, Tram. Any other staffers with comments? Okay. We are ready for commission comments, commission member comments. Well, we could start over here and then move in. And
I have no comments.
No comments. All right. No comments. Moving on to the other side, Rosa, and coming back here.
Okay. I just have an announcement. I'm producing a concert for dance at Christ Cathedral, so come on over tomorrow at 11 a.m.
That's it.
Wonderful. Thank you.
No comment.
Well, I want to say thank you very much, Commissioner Pena, for your fearless leadership, and I learned a lot from you with regard to the creative field. I'd like to welcome on board Commissioner Sierra and also congratulate him for the vice chair designation. And thank you all for, for entrusting me with this, leading this commission. And I will do my best to be as efficient as possible.
Well, thank you, Commissioner Cha. So I want to thank everyone for your time and dedication in making this a functional commission. I want to thank my original commissioners that have survived here to this point. Thank you, Maritza, and thank you, Mr. McGee, for being here and sticking it out. We have gone through many transitions in many different departments, and I'm very, glad that we've been able to, keep a cohesion, and we're moving forward, and we've really had some wonderful accomplishments together. So I welcome the new generation, and Adolfo, welcome aboard, and I'm really excited to have, Jessica, lead the commission forward. You've been such a tremendous asset since you came on board, and you and Rosa really just sparked up a whole new level of energy, and I'm very grateful and thankful for your presence here. So with that said, I just want to advise everyone, we have some law enforcement present because sometimes, we have folks in our city that are very passionate with the arts. We also have, an issue of, mental health and balance that we have to deal with our public. So sometimes things can get off balance, and commissioners can be contacted and pitted against each other. I'm glad we were able to survive all that politicking, and I just want to advise just the new group, the new crew here. Always, just do, inform each other, talk to each other, meet with each other. We don't have to discuss Brown Act issues, but keep that unity and that cohesion, because that's really important for moving forward. It's more than just votes. Each one of us has a special expertise in a universe, in the arts and in the field and with Santa Ana that we all bring in. And it's very important we not let outside forces pit us against each other. We're here to represent our residents. I know I have really taken that to heart in wanting to represent our residents first before any, weird political, machination things. And so if we all always keep that present, that we're here to represent those residents and give them, use our arts expertise to bring the most resources, opportunities, and quality of life to Santa Ana, then, man, there's so much we could get done to really have the city blossom. And with that said, I want to adjourn this meeting and thank you all for being here.